Okay, this is back to Barry again. We want to thank Bluehost one more time for giving us that nice tutorial showing their one-click WordPress install. I just wanted you to see that because it gives a great example of how good Bluehost support is and how good of tutorials they offer to you. It's one of the reasons I really recommend Bluehost to just about everybody. Let's go ahead and continue on though. As you can see now we're ready to go to our domain name so you can see what the default WordPress installation looks like. Now don't worry if yours looks a little different than this when you go to your own domain name. This is based on the 2014 theme. Yours may be a little bit different. But this is basically just a real generic theme. As you can see, not much going on. We're going to go ahead and be modifying that, changing some colors, adding banners, changing the title and the taglines, adding opt-in forms. We're going to step through that step by step right now. But the first step is we need to get into the back end of WordPress. So go to the end of your domain name, add a / and wp-admin. And that'll get you to the login screen to get into the dashboard of your WordPress theme. Now most of you are probably going to have your username is going to be admin, unless you changed it when you were doing your install. For me, I did change mine. Mine is Barry. So we'll go ahead and get logged in here. What you're seeing now is just the default WordPress dashboard, and this is really makes things simplified for you. As you can see, you can customize your theme from here. You can go ahead and write your first blog post, add your about page, view your site. This is where you control everything. Along the side here you'll see entries for doing your posts, where you can add new posts, create categories to organize your posts, add tags which help in your search engine optimization and help people find you in searches even on your own site. Media is where you're going to be taking care of or organizing your pictures, videos that you use on your website. Pages are very much like posts. The big difference is they're for static content. Things like your My Story or About Us page, for your Contact Us page, things that aren't going to change. Sales pages, squeeze pages are good examples also of that. Anything that's your regular content that you want to just keep rolling on content, that's going to be going up under your posts up here at the top. Now comments are exactly what it means. You've probably been on blogs before where you'll see comments underneath somebody's post. That's where you're going to be able to control comments, be able to do some moderating to get rid of junk. We'll be talking about how to avoid getting too much spam in your comment areas here in just a minute. The main thing we want to start though with is changing the appearance. So let's go under Appearance here. And where we want to start is Themes. Themes are what controls the whole look and feel of your website. Now right now on this one we are working with the 2014 theme. You can see it is the active theme. WordPress, the latest version, installs with 2014, 2013, and 2012. All are really good solid themes. If you're going to use a free theme, these would be the three I'd recommend. I usually try to avoid using free themes when possible, just because they're not always the best written code. They can be a little bit sloppy in the coding, which makes them slower, makes them not quite as secure. Other free themes we'll be taking a look at here in just a minute can often have some bad outgoing links built into the footer areas or even hidden in the code, and those can really reduce your SEO rankings, which we want to avoid. We want something that's quick, fast, clean, solid, and with good support. And that's another big thing on free themes. Most of them has zero support. So if you run into problems, you're going to be digging around in forums, hunting through posts, looking on Google just trying to find support because there's no central place to get the support for the theme. So for right now, let's take a look at the 2014. We'll go ahead and do a little customizing on it. And the first thing we want to take a look at is right now our website just has test as the name, and we want to change that to the name of our actual site. So if you look here, it says test, and then we have a tagline that says just another WordPress site. So we'll go ahead and change that. For my case, I'm going to just put in my name. And we'll add a simple tagline here. Now that may not show up right now on just our WordPress default, but we can actually take a look. We'll go ahead and save and publish with what we have right now. And then we can close where we're actually doing our previewing here. Anytime you want to take a look at your site, you can go right up under the top here, right click on Visit Site and open a new tab. And as you can see right now, we just changed the name here, and we can see our tagline right underneath. Still a pretty ugly site, as you can tell. We're going to go ahead and make some big changes here. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and use the commercial theme that I like to use the most, ClickBump. There's really only 3 themes that I recommend highly, and that's ClickBump, Genesis, and Thesis. Genesis and Thesis are probably the 2 best known of the commercial themes on the market right now. They're very solid, very fast, and very customizable. Genesis is probably my preferred of those 2 just because it works with a framework and you can change skins easily. Now ClickBump is the one I recommend to almost everybody, and the big reason is because it's really easy to work with. It has a lot of features, special effects that are built right in, and it's actually faster than the other 2. The other big reason I recommend ClickBump over the other 2 is the stellar support that comes from Scott Blanchard, the author of the theme. I have never seen anybody provide such great customer support in my life. Now, you can choose whatever theme you want. This is the one I like the best, and that's what I'm going to install to show you right now. So what we need to do to install a new theme, we just come up and Add New. And here's where you can see the other free themes that are available. And if you wanted to look through even more of those, you can come under the feature filter here. And you can choose all kinds of different criteria to look. You can choose what colors you want your themes to be, how many columns, how you want them laid out, features that you want built in, even subject areas. Like I said before though, I really recommend trying to avoid most of these free themes because most of them are not that great. In our case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to upload a new theme, and we'll browse. Now the one I'm using is actually sitting out on my C drive here. I've set it aside for today, and here's my ClickBump. Now most themes come to you in a zip file, so you'll be selecting the zip file and then you just click the Install Now button. This will take just a minute while it uploads from my computer and it installs, and we'll take a look at what ClickBump offers you, and we'll do some more customizing of the website. Okay, now you can see that ClickBump has finished uploading and installing. What we need to do now is we need to go ahead and hit the Activate. That will turn it on and make it the active theme on the site. As you can see now, we have a new set of control menus here, which are all the things that ClickBump allows us to do. Now let's just go back for a minute and we'll take a look at our site again and see how it's changed. Now as you can see, it's kind of messed up now because we have the ClickBump logo right over the top of our name and our tagline there. But you can see the whole layout has changed. We have a little cleaner look going on. The menus have moved over to the right hand side. Now we'll be doing a lot of work with that in just a minute. But at least we have a new look, something a little fresher. So let's close that out for a minute. Now ClickBump makes it very easy to modify your colors to change how your site looks. We're going to give you a quick example here, because we're just in the default ClickBump page here in the home area, and it's showing our active skin is canvas. Now ClickBump comes with a lot of different skins you can buy and add in. I usually just go ahead and stick with their free, the one that comes right with it, the canvas. They come with 2, canvas and a maze. I really do like the canvas one better. But you can see how you can change colors by clicking on this Show Skin Color Guide. And it opens up a nice little guide here that we can see where the colors, as we change those color swatches, will affect the theme. What I want to change right now is this outside color. So that's color 4. And I've actually got it set here a color I want to use in a note. So I'm going to change color 4. Now you could just click anywhere and choose your color here, but I'm going to go ahead and put my number in. And we will hit Apply Changes to change the color. Let's take another look here at how our site looks with just a simple color change. So now you see we've livened up the site a little bit more by adding a red background and really bringing our attention into the middle in the white. But we're going to continue on making some more changes here, and we'll just kind of step down through ClickBump as we go. We are already on the home screen here, which is basically where we just change those color swatches. Now ClickBump does have an area where you can go in and actually set up ads from like AdSense and be able to set where you want ads to be positioned. We're probably not going to be using that at all. You may use it in the future. It makes using ads very easy. I'm going to take a look here under the blog tab. Now we're going to pretty much leave this as default. We want to have this as just a regular blog style where we're enabling a homepage blog. We'll be coming back and maybe changing a few of these things later, but right now it's pretty much how we want it. Under Canvas is actually where we can change what our look and layout of the site is. Right now we have the rounded corner, which is kind of what I like, but you can change it to any of these others. Let me just show you a quick example here. We can change it to a square corner. We can change where menu positions go on the site and even choose the menu styles. We can choose how the color is applied to the theme. Right now it's set to go solid all the way around, but let's go ahead and change that to a fade effect so you can see how that looks. And we can even change margins, and if you want to play with looking how it looks default or with what you're changing, you can just check this box and be able to see the differences. Let's apply changes and see what we've changed so far. So if we do a quick refresh on our site, what you're going to see is we've gone to a square cornered theme now with a nice faded color look. Now that's probably not my preference. I like the rounded corner look, so I'm going to change that back at the moment. And for what I'm doing today, I want to go with the solid background, so I'm going to switch that back. But I just wanted to show you how that looks. The thing we're wanting to do is we want to go ahead and replace that ClickBump logo here with something we like. So we're going to come under Images. As you can see, that's where the ClickBump logo comes from. Now I've prepared a header image that we're going to use, so I'm going to go ahead and just upload header and browse to your local computer, and then you go ahead and click install. Now the image should be in a PNG format, which means you may need to convert it in a graphics program. If you don't have a good graphics program for doing that, let me know on Facebook and I can recommend a couple free ones for you. Okay, so our header is uploaded. Now, as you'll notice here, there's an option that talks about header image inline, which allows the header image to be auto resized on mobile displays. If you're using ClickBump, please check that. That just means that when you resize your website on a mobile device like a phone or a tablet, the header shrinks. The header image will shrink with the tablet size, so that it makes it much better for those people on mobile devices. Now we're going to go ahead and upload a fave icon also. What that is you can see this little image here, which we also see on our site right now. That's the ClickBump image. I prepared another little one for our site. And these are just really small little graphics files. It just helps brand your site a little bit better so that people recognize your site when they're on it. Now I'm going to go ahead and just make those two changes and show you where we're at. So we'll apply changes. And we'll do a refresh. Okay, now as you can see, we now have our new image up here. It's all messed up. We can't see all of it. So I'm going to have to resize that image area down, which I'll show you how to do that. That's one of the things I really like about ClickBump. It really makes it easy to change things. And we're going to be needing to get the title and the tagline moved over to the side too, so we'll work on that next. So right here where we uploaded the image, you can see where it says we can custom height for the header image. Now I should have changed that before, but you can see right here my height is at 151. So if I change that and we apply changes, I'm going to reopen that. Now you can see our images, or our header is the right size. We still have the words in the wrong place. We'll be adjusting those in just a minute here. So let's go back into our click bump here. And let's take a look at layout. Anything you see within the ClickBump theme that you see a check mark beside is usually something they're recommending. Scott has done a lot of research on what's the best for SEO, best for getting you the highest rankings on search engines. Most of these things are items you'll want to choose. For now, we're not going to play with that. We'll talk a lot more about those types of things when we do our SEO training a little bit later. Okay, here's what we're looking for is our site title and our site taglines. We need to be moving those farther to the right and farther down a little bit. So we'll drop them down. We'll start with the top margin at about 30 pixels for there. And let's move it over about 250 pixels. Now you can just play with these items and see how they look as you do them. And we'll move this over the same 250 pixels from the left. So we'll apply that change. And all that's doing is moving things to the right and moving them down for the header and the tagline. So let's go ahead and refresh and see if we're close to where we want to be. Yeah, that looks much better. We've got things about where we want them, but as you can see, the color is horrible. I'll probably bring that marketing training tagline up a little bit so it's just right under the name. So we can come back down here. I had dropped that down 60 pixels, so let's try it at about 45. And we'll do a refresh again after we applied our changes. And that looks much better. So the next thing we want to do is take a look at our text and fonts. We're going to skip down a little bit to text and fonts because I want to change that header, the tagline, and the title line to be white so they pop out. And we can do that under the text and fonts here. And this is another feature we should probably talk about right away. ClickBump does include a whole series of fonts you can use for your headlines to really make them pop. They use the Google Web Font Library, which works really well in almost any browser. So we turn those on. Now, I have not tested any of these today, so we're just going to play with them and see what we come up with. Let's try the Alerta stencil, and it's going to give us an update of what it looks like here. Now we can actually choose a secondary font line, which will be for our tagline. Let's grab that Anonymous Pro and just see it. Well, that probably looks okay, so we'll just leave those now just to have a little bit of different look. We can customize our heading sizes, which will be in like our posts. We can change the colors of what our headings are going to be, but what we're looking for right now is for our taglines, which are down here at the bottom, the site title and site tagline. Now we don't need to mess with the fonts because we just did that, but we do want to change the color. And like I said, I'm going to go with a white. Depending on what your background color is, you might choose just about anything. Choose white for the tagline also. And we can say apply changes. We'll go ahead and refresh again and see what we have now. So now we're starting to get a little more of a unique look going on our website. You know, this is nothing fancy, but it gives you a good idea of how you can make some quick adjustments and get a site that really markets yourself and starts branding you. Now I was talking about the ability for that graphic to shrink, so let me show you that real quick. We're going to go ahead and minimize this, and as you can see, as I start sliding this over, the header shrinks as the size goes, and that's exactly what's going to happen on a mobile device also. And that's an important feature you want to look for in any theme you're going to use. It needs to be mobile ready today because there's a good chance a high percentage of your people are going to be visiting your site using a tablet or using a phone, and you want to be ready for those people. You don't want to eliminate them from your possible marketing. So let's jump back in here and we'll do some more changing. I'm going to pause for just a moment. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, we're going to jump out of the click bump area for a minute. We're going to look at plugins. There's some things we want to add to the site to make it a little bit more efficient for your SEO, a little more efficient for keeping things clean for you and getting it ready for marketing. So let's jump into the plugins here. And by default, WordPress comes with 2 plugins installed. One is this Akismet, which is a great plugin to have. You will want to sign up for an Akismet API key. It's just a simple key. You'll get an email giving you a key that you'll be pasting into here. What Akismet does for you is helps eliminate that spam that you can get in the comments. Helps keep your site clean and reduces how much moderating you're going to have to do in the comments. An important thing to have. The other one that comes bundled with any WordPress installation is called Hello Kitty. I've already deleted it and I recommend you do that too. It's just a silly little plugin that's just been built into WordPress since day one and it's kind of kept in there just as a historical note. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add some new plugins. So we'll click the Add New. And the first one I'm going to install, I actually need to upload. It comes from ClickBump. Now I'm going to install it and show it to you just that we've installed it. We're not going to talk about this one at all today until we get on to the SEO portions in a few days. It's a special plugin that allows us to control our content, be able to get our keywords to the right density, be able to make sure we get our headings correct for getting the best search engine optimization possible so we get ranked as high as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and browse. What I use is this ClickBump SEO. A lot of people like SEO Presser. I prefer ClickBump SEO because it ties so tightly into the ClickBump theme. It'll work on other themes, but I like using the two of them together. Another plugin I want to add is one called WP Clone. I mentioned to you before in the earlier part of the video that we needed to have a way to back up our site. WP Clone is what I recommend. You can also do WP Backup. So we just put in WP Clone and hit Search Plugins. It'll be this first one here that says by WP Academy. Go ahead and click Install Now and then say OK. And we want to go ahead and activate the plugin. And all WP Clone, we'll step over to it for just a second here. What it does, it just allows you to create a backup of all your settings on your WordPress site to your local computer, and where else it can also go out to a Dropbox or a place online. What this allows you to do is if anything goes wrong with your WordPress site, you can easily restore it, even to a different hosting company if necessary. So it's a really powerful thing for you to have. The other one I recommend is WP Backup. The advantage to WP Backup, it'll actually do scheduled backups. If you want something scheduled, go with WP Backup. Personally, I prefer WP Clone because it makes it easier to move sites to other hosting if you need it. And since sometimes my team and I make sites for other people, we use WP Clone because it's then easier to move it over to their hosting company. Okay, now we'll go back into the plugins area. There's a couple more plugins I'd like to add yet. We want to add one called Pretty Link Lite. I recommend this one to everybody. Pretty Link Lite basically allows you to create links going to outside sites but making them look like they're still on your website. That is a big SEO benefit to you. We'll be talking about that extensively when we get into the SEO section. But for now, I just want you to get it installed so you're ready for the future. So go ahead and activate the plugin. Now, the ClickBump theme has a built-in social media section where we can actually set up social media icons for Facebook, for Twitter, for LinkedIn, for Pinterest. If you're not using ClickBump, you're going to need to install a different theme. The one I recommend is DigDig. It adds a nice sidebar that shows you where you can share to Facebook, where you can share to Twitter. But if you use ClickBump, you're not going to need that. I just wanted to mention DigDig in case you do choose a different theme. Now, since we spoke of that, let's jump back into the ClickBump section. And we'll drop down in here into the social. And as you can see, this is where we can start enabling Facebook like buttons. We can enable a Twitter tweet button. You can see my Twitter name, I'd already put it in before. You can add a pin it button so people can pin any graphics you have on your site out to Pinterest. You definitely want to go ahead and get Google Plus added in. If you have a LinkedIn profile, please do that one also. I don't mess with the Kindle. I don't know if there's any real good reason. Now, they recommend doing the social open graph. I would say go ahead and do that. It'll give you a slight SEO benefit. The author byline is something we are going to be wanting to do. That's going to actually show your name, be able to have a little bit of a subject line about you. I like to put it below the post myself. This will be up to you whether you want to show the number of comments beside your author byline or not. For now, we're going to leave that off. We do want to turn on comments on posts. You do want to get as much interaction with people on your website as possible. Remember, we're using Akismet to reduce the spam, and we're going to set it to where you have to moderate the comments so that if anybody does get spam in, you get to delete it before it actually shows up on your site. So let's go ahead and hit the Apply Changes. We'll go ahead and jump back to our site. We're going to do a quick refresh here. Okay, as you're noticing, my icons aren't showing up, and that's because I just made a mistake. So let's jump back over here. If we look down here in about the middle of the screen of the social, I missed checking an important box here. We can choose whether we want the social media icons to be above, below, or both on each of our posts. We need to go ahead and change it. I'm going to go ahead and put it below for now. We'll apply changes one more time. And we'll do a quick refresh. As you can see, now we're getting icons into our post area so we could go ahead and easily share this content. Now we do have another option for social media too, which is a lot of fun. We're going to be looking at widgets in just a moment, and we'll show you. Well, let's just do it right now. If we go back under Appearance, you'll see an area called Widgets. Widgets give us a lot of control of what's being seen in different areas on our website. Now, ClickBump has a lot of different areas where things can go. Right now, you'll see here's one for social media. And what we're going to do is we're wanting to put this up above, higher in our content. I'd like to get it to lay just about right in here on my website. So we're going to take the social media here and we just drag it to where we want it, which we're going to put it here in the below header area. Now, what you will need to do is you'll need to actually put in your information. We're just going to put in my Facebook real quick here. And I'll leave the rest empty for the moment, just so you can see how this works. Click Save. I'm going to close. Now we can come back to our site here and we'll just do a quick refresh again. You see we have icons here. Now that's not quite where I was hoping to have them, so let's take a look here again. Let's move it above header. And we can test. And that's, like I said, this is what I really like about the ClickBump theme, is we can make it really easy. Now we have them up here, and that's not too bad. And I think for now we'll leave it in that area. See, that gives you your social media again to a new place, and we'll just right click on that and I can show you how that works. It'll actually let people jump over. Now it's having me do a security check, but that would be actually jumping into my Facebook profile. And that's one thing I really like about the ClickBump theme, is your ability to really make it a very social, very interactive site. Now another thing we have here is we have an author box. Now we do want to go ahead and get an author box in the site because it really helps brand you. So we're going to be putting that over in the right hand sidebar here. And we're going to start cleaning out all this other junk too. We'll take the author box and we're going to put it here in the sidebar. And I like to show it. It gives us an option here where we can show this. I like to go ahead and show it just about everywhere for my stuff. So I'm going to check all the boxes for the moment. You can choose whether you want it on every page or not. I'm going to close that. You're seeing all this other stuff that's in here. I'm going to leave the search, but everything else I'm going to pull out of there. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's just making the website look a little bit messy. Now this happens pretty much on the fly, so if we refresh now, you're going to see we have an author box here. It actually has my picture. Now that's basically coming in because I have signed up on Gravatar and created a login here. Now you'll want to step through and do this yourself. You'll need to make a WordPress.com sign in and be able to add your small image. But once you've done that, it'll match up to your website. You'll get a little icon here, and you'll be able to use it for author boxes. And it also helps set up where your picture will get shown in the search engine results for content from your site. Now, there is a little gotcha in here that we need to look under settings. We're actually under users and under your profile. You're going to need to make sure that it matches your email address, what you create in the Gravatar. So make sure you go ahead and get those two to match, and once you have those matching, then it will start showing up on your website. It's really easy to sign up for Gravatar. Now we're going to jump back into the widgets area one more time because I really don't like that search box being quite where it's at. I'd prefer that to get up above my author box. So as you're seeing, it's just about as easy that we just drag it to where we want it. We'll do a quick refresh. And there you go. Now I did set up a little content here somewhere that I can use in that author box. So I'm going to grab a snippet out of here that I'm going to just stick in that author box instead of that default content. So we'll just drop that in there right now. Save. If we do a refresh again, you're going to see we have my content in there now. So you're going to want to do something like that because that's going to really help personalize your website, make it where it's... Now, as you're seeing, we have no menus up here. We probably need to get some menus up in the tops. So let's take another look at that real quick. Within ClickBump, there is a section for menus. And again, you can choose a font for your menus. We're going to stick with one of the ones we've already used. We don't want to get too confusing on that. We do want to make sure our menu options are responsive. You can vary your link colors here if you wish to. We may need to do that as we proceed. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and apply the changes. Then we also have under Appearance, Menus also. And this is where we actually set up some menus. And we're going to just set up a couple menu items real quick. So we'll create a new menu here. We'll call it Top Menu. And it tells us where we can put menus. So we're going to put it in the header menu because we don't really need anywhere else at the moment. And then we can add to the menu. We're going to create a custom link here that just goes back to home by typing in our website name, and we're going to tell it we want to call it home. And we'll just go ahead and save that menu so we can see what we have at the moment. And as you can see, that looks pretty ugly at the moment. We can't even see it on the screen. And that's where we'll go back into ClickBump under Menus. Colors. Now I'm going to go ahead and put those white like we did our others. Say OK. The hover color is just a slightly different color so that when you hover your mouse over it, it looks just a little bit different. The color here, the active menu, shows us which menu is active. So again, we want to make that something that's just slightly different. Since we went with the deep red, I'm going to go ahead with just a shaded red here. And for now, we'll just go ahead and apply changes and see what we have. So now you can see as we go across this, it changes slightly in color. We can read it now because it says home. When we come to home, it's shaded so we can see our menu. As we have more things, the menu will spread across the site. And that's where we were back in our canvas. We could choose our menu style and our menu location. So we could change our menu style to be more of a round button if we wished. And we could change it to be in a different position on our website. And apply changes. If we refresh now, we put our button here. Obviously that's not a good location, so we'll switch that back to the left hand or the right hand side. Now our site's starting to look a lot better. We've got a little bit of action going on here. We've got something welcoming our website. We need to get a post in here to make it look a little bit better. So let's take a look at how we create a post. So go under Posts and Add New. Now I've cheated and I've prepared a post that I'm going to use. This is an old one I had, so just paste that in here. Now what you're seeing over here is this is the ClickBump SEO we installed. If we were optimizing for a title, let's say like Body for Life, it would be able to tell us more about our keyword density. It would tell us what they suggest we add to make the blog much better for getting higher rankings. Like right now you can see it's a 10. It's really lousy, but that's okay. That's all we're trying to do right at the moment. Now Now we can go ahead and preview this post. At least now we have a little content there. But obviously, content alone is not very exciting. So we want to go ahead, we're going to add an image in here just by clicking Add Media. And you can select a file from your computer. Now you'll have to have had an image ready, and I have a copy of the cover from Body for Life book that we're talking about here. And you just insert into your post. And we can go ahead and preview our changes again. And we would want to change this so this actually wraps better around the post. Which we can do by coming in here and editing. We will tell it to align it left and update. Now if we preview one more time, we'll see we have it wrapping around. We have a nice image in there. We're starting to get a site that actually looks pretty good. The problem is right now we have no way to get people to sign up for a mail list, which is the backbone of our marketing program. We need to add an opt-in form into the right-hand side over here by where our Welcome to My website is. Now that's going to take us just another little extra step. Now you probably have not signed up for an autoresponder service yet. I'm going to have down below this video 3 different ones that I really highly recommend. Through your Aweber, GetResponse, and GVO. If you're on a tight budget, take a look at the GVO. You can get started on it for, I think it's $1 for the first 7 days, and it's like $9.97 per month after that, for up to 5,000 email subscribers. Now that's a lot of email subscribers. I'm going to tell you that right now. Before you'd ever hit 5,000, you're going to be making enough money that you're not going to worry about what your cost of your email responder is. Now, the other 2 services to get that many are going to be quite a bit more expensive. I will tell you up front though, the Aweber and the GetResponse are a little nicer as far as creating forms and probably a little easier in the back end. GVO is the budget option, and what I'd probably recommend you starting with is the GVO. So let's take a look at how we're going to do that. So I'm already logged into my GVO account here, which is the one I use most of the time. We're actually going to grab code for a couple different forms here. And I've already pulled them aside, but if you're needing to create a form, once you're logged in, the easiest way is you want to make sure you checked your right campaign. You'll be setting up campaign. Now GVO has some really great tutorial videos that you can watch so you'd know exactly how to do this, or if you ever need any help with it, just ask me on Facebook and I'd be happy to help you step through it. But I like to use the form wizard, and you have a whole different selections for different groups of different forms you can get, but you can modify any of these like you want. Quite often what I'll do is, you've probably seen on my Review the Facts website, is I've actually replaced the image to make it look how I want to make it. So, but for now we're just going to select a simple form. I think the one I chose was here in the opportunities. We also want to get a wide opt-in form that we can actually use in or under our content. Now I have both of these I've already pulled. Normally if you would be doing this, you'd be just clicking on the form you want to make. It'll come in here and ask you which campaign you're doing. Now one thing I do want to point out as we're doing this, I always like to go to a custom URL. I don't want it to go to the defaults. Let me show you why. If I come in here and I would just say click the thank you page for English mail, it's going to bring us to a very default, very boring GVO thank you page. If you're going to do your own, and I'm going to cheat here, I'm going to use one off the Review the Facts site. I like to send them to our story page, and I do the same thing for the already subscribed, because I want them to get back into my blog, reading my content, and be able to see my sign-up forms and my products. Now, normally I uncheck the double opt-in. That makes them do an authorization or email. We want to make it as simple as possible just to get them in. We can change the text in our opt-in form. and we would just click create. And once we click create, we get this wild looking code that you're probably going like, what's all that about? Don't worry about that too much. All you're going to be doing is copying and pasting this code, and I'll be showing you that. You might want to go ahead and just copy and paste it. What I usually do is I copy and paste it into a notepad document just to make it easy for myself, and then I have everything ready to go. Now we're going to jump back out of here. We're going to jump back into our site because we have the code we want. And what we're wanting to do is we're first wanting to get one over here on this right hand side. So we need to go back into our widgets under our appearance. You see an error I just got there, and that's because I did something silly and I forgot to hit the publish button here to save our post. That's something you want to make sure you do, but luckily WordPress reminds us before we get out of a page. So if you ever see that, make sure you go back and either save your draft or publish your post, whichever you're wanting to do. So now let's go ahead and go back under appearance and widgets. And what we're going to want to do is put our sign-in form just above this author box. Now from our standpoint, that's going to be really easy. We're just going to grab a text box here. We'll slide it in just above there. Now as you can see, with the text box we just get this blank form, and that's where we're going to plug in our codes. And let me find the right code here. And there's the one I want for my sidebar opt-in. I saved it from GVO earlier. I'm just going to copy it all, paste it into the box here. Now we can choose where it's going to show, just like we did on the other. Now again, I usually let it go ahead and show just about everywhere. And let's hit save. Okay, so now once we've saved this, go ahead and close it. Let's go ahead and refresh our site again and see if it shows up like we're expecting. And I'm anticipating this might be a little bit big. So our image is showing up, but it looks like it's came on top of our other site here, so we may need to make a few adjustments there. Probably the easiest way we can fix that at the moment. So we'll just drop it down underneath our author box for right now. Let's see how that looks to us. There we go. So now we have an opt-in form that would be for signing up for our website or for our training courses. Now we would definitely want to modify that. As you can see, this is just a really generic one. I chose it basically because it sticks pretty well with our color theme. I would be changing that graphic completely, but it gives you a good idea of how this all comes together. So let's pause for just a second here, and I'm going to jump back into one other subject. Now, we talked about pages before. We're going to add another item up here into the menu. I've gone ahead and cheated while we were paused for just a moment and created a page by going under Pages and Add New. We're just adding our Story page. And I went ahead and did an add media and posted in a picture and copied in some text that I had already prepared. So we can save that down here or publish. So we could take a quick look at that page if we wish to. A couple of our extra tabs there. And this is what our new page would look like. It has our pictures in there. Goes ahead and has our text and still shows our author box and our opt-in form on the side. Now, we're going to close that box and we'll come back in here. Now we do want to modify our menus because we want to make sure our story goes onto the menu also now. So we just choose it in the list, click Add to Menu, and then save our menu. So now when we come back in and refresh, we will have our story up here in the menu also. And that's basically the same thing you'll be doing with creating forms. Now, ClickBump does not have a built-in form system, and I did forget to mention that as we were talking about plugins. You are going to want to add a plugin to build forms with. We're doing a contact form. Go ahead and add a new plugin yet. And the one I like is called Contact Form 7. So you can just go ahead and install that real quick. And this can be used for all kinds of forms. It can be used for creating sales forms, can be used for creating forms for collecting information that gets emailed to you. It just makes an easy way so people can send you an email. We go ahead and look at the settings here. Basically, you'll get a lot of information on how you can use the Contact Form 7. But right now, we're not going to do any more with that. We'll step through that maybe in a later lesson. But just know you're going to probably need that when you go to create your Contact Us form. Now, let's go back and look at our site again. The one other thing we talked about is I wanted to be able to get a form on our websites where we have another sign-up form that's in line with the text, or where we can put it at the bottom here. That's why we got the white opt-in form before. Let me just show you how we would do that. We're going to go into our All Posts. We're going to edit our one post real quick. Now we could come here at the end of this post. We will need to switch over into the text format and get out of the visual, because if we're going to post code, we need to be in the text format. And need to open my wide opt-in form sheet here, which is that very vibrant green one we looked at just a little bit ago. We're going to type it into the bottom. Now if we go ahead and preview changes and look down, we see we have another form that's showing up at the bottom of the page. Now obviously we'd have to do some adjusting there to get that cleaned up on the bottom. Well, since that's not working exactly like we want, I'm going to show you another cool little feature. We're going to cut that out for a second. Go back into Visual. You're going to see something called custom shortcodes that comes with ClickBump. Now this is not available on most other themes. What it gives us the ability to do is to create very cool little bulleted highlights. It lets us create divider lines, create embedded videos, lets us create special 3-column blocks within our articles, lets us put in Google Maps, click buttons, comparison tables for pricing. So right now what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this one, this shadow box. We're going to clip that out. Instead we're going to paste in our sign-up form. Let's see what we get. Okay, what we're seeing there is a very bad mistake on my part. Remember what I told you about not pasting in the code inside of the visual editor? Well, that's what I just did. So we need to come out here and we need to cut that back out. And we'll switch into the text editor and fix it. We'll see that same code hiding here within the text editor, the shadow box code. We'll replace what's in between with our code for our sign-up box. And once we update that, we can refresh here, and hopefully it'll look like we want it to look. Let's update and see what we have. As you're seeing, one of the big things about working with WordPress and creating posts and changing the looks of your blog like you want it is playing. You're going to have to learn to play with it and have fun. Okay, now we've got something that actually looks pretty decent. Now, usually you're not going to want to have two sign-up boxes so close together, but it starts giving you the idea of how we can modify our blog, take it from something that was just really plain Jane when we started to where we have a blog now that has a header graphic, has a nice catchy title, has a menu that pops out where we've got it engaged for social media. We've got our opt-in boxes, we've got articles with images in it, and you've actually got a blog that's presentable to somebody where you could actually start putting your content, or start putting your sales products out there and start making money with it. Now we're going to stop at this point because there's not a lot else we need to do today. That gives you a basic idea of how we set up a blog and how we work with things. Now, if I've confused you completely, please let me know and I'll help you out on Facebook or on Skype. Or if you're just not wanting to build your own blog, we do offer some pre-built blog options. You can take a look at that. I'm going to link to it below this page too. That in any of those, we also include this ClickBump theme, which lets you get all those special effects you just saw in those short codes. And I'll help you with anything you need to be doing on the blog. If you have any questions, please either leave me a comment, talk to me on Facebook, or add me on Skype, and we'll chat about it. I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.